Good evening and welcome to Tuesday Folk People. My name is Maddie Leedham, and this evening we're going to be talking to the witty East Sussex-based duo Milton Hide. Playing guitar, percussion, clarinet and voice, this duo are a force of nature when it comes to songwriting, weaving eloquent, well-crafted songs and stories. Despite forming less than 5 years ago, the duo have an enviable and expansive repertoire of originals, some of which they've released in their EPs Little Fish and Family album, as well as their debut album Temperatures Rising that was released in the spring of 2021. The duo has entertained audiences at venues such as the Underground Theatre Eastbourne, Tunbridge Folk Club, the Spice of Life in Soho, and the Brighton Hobgoblin Music Store, as well as performing at such festivals as Rochester Sweeps, the Great Dorset Steam Fair, and Hailsham Arts Festival. For an hour this evening, we're going to hear the fulsome, well-rounded and engaging sound of Milton Hide, as well as exploring their musical journey and future. It brings me great pleasure to welcome Milton Hide, aka Josie and Jim Tipler, to the online studio. Hello, Josie and Jim. How are you both doing?
Hi.
Hi, Maddie. Yeah, good.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Excellent. Are you currently... It's near Eastbourne, isn't it, that you're...
Yeah, it's just north of Eastbourne.
Is that where you are right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Arlington.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, well, I wanted to get started with an easy question, just to warm us up a bit. And I wanted to talk about where the name Milton Hide came from.
Okay, so Milton Hide is it's a local area to us, near part of what's known as Abbots Wood and Wilmington Forest, and we had I had the band name in mind before we started the band. Because I just thought it was a great band name.
There's two local areas with sort of interesting names, and that one won.
Yeah,
and the other one got turned into a song.
And the thing is, I don't know if you do this, but it's a thing. Wherever we see like something come up, we think, "Oh, that's a great name for a band," and we go, but we never write the blooming things down.
Now, am I right in thinking that it's got a bit of a darker reputation?
Yes. Yeah.
that was the appeal.
Yes, nocturnal activities in the woods.
Yes. Yeah, we won't go into too much detail there.
And nightingales, is that right?
No, but it has got
yes,
it's got a darker underbelly as well.
Okay, intriguing, fantastic. So, should we go for your first song, which we have "Little Piece of Mind"? Could you tell us about this song before we hear
it? Jim wrote this amazingly while I was really having a tough time going through the menopause. And he was feeling sort of the strains of midlife crisis as well. And it was, just a song. I think he wrote it at 3:00 one morning when he'd had to get out of bed because I was like steaming with sort of raised temperature.
Yes, if you've ever slept with a 5'2" hot water bottle, you'll know what I'm talking about.
And it's, a little piece of mind is literally, I was terrified. I honestly thought I was losing my mind. I was forgetting things. And I didn't realise at the time that this was a symptom of the menopause. And all's good now. But at the time it was really scary.
Short of breath, thoughts of death, but on that light to keep
close is distant, once remote is in my face. The future's now this instant, and I'm gazing up at space, incoherent but persistent, and I'm sunk without a trace. A little peace of mind is hard to find. And oh, woe is me, I'm hanging like a dead fruit on a tree, but I won't wear a frown, or wondering when that wind will bring me down. And I'm on my way to God knows where, and God knows what I'll find. God knows who I'm meeting there, I think I'm flying blind, but I know down below, for the rest of humankind, a little peace of mind is hard to find. Dark as all the morning, my heart beats like a train. It comes on without warning, puts a jump beat to my brain. Short of breath, thoughts are dead, but on that light to keep me safe. Till the light of dawn I'm fighting blind. A little peace of mind is hard to find.
What a brilliant song. I have to say,
Thank you.
I feel like the issue of menopause is not really talked about, especially like at school and stuff. It's just not, it doesn't happen. And then it
Yeah.
hits the person who goes, I've obviously haven't been through it yet, but I've got my family members and everything. And you don't quite realize how debilitating it is until
Yeah.
you experience it.
It can be. I mean, I didn't know anything about it really, because my mum just didn't. She didn't have any symptoms at all. She just went through it with no problem. Yeah, everyone's different, but it is something that definitely should be taught in schools,
Mm.
because it affects probably half your life.
Hmm.
And yeah, I was having all sorts of symptoms for a couple of years, and I had no idea it was part of this. And I was going to the doctors and wasting a lot of NHS time, and they didn't. None of them joined the dots to see. Oh yeah, this is quite normal. Yeah,
What better
it's
way to educate people now than through song?
yeah,
Show your audience what it is. And I'm sure there are so many people who can relate to that as well. And it's just
We
brilliant.
do get that
yeah.
quite a lot, actually. I'm really pleased because having written it, I'm a big fan of Woman's Hour on Radio 4. So, so you obviously you hear about the menopause a lot on Woman's Hour. Not that I'm an expert or anything like that, but
But you were primed, weren't you?
yeah, I was primed. Yeah, definitely primed, and yeah, and it's about when our kids have all grown up and left home, and I think the perception is when you're a youngish parent and your kids are growing up, you think that when they've left home and they've got their own life and everything, your problems are over, and your worries and insecurities would magically disappear. I know it sounds like really naive, but that is kind of what you think.
Mm.
And lo and behold, they don't.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
other things happen.
sorry, Maddie.
Great.
You just get different ones.
Yeah.
And insecurity is about the state of the world and everything else creep up on you in the
Yeah.
small hours of the morning, just like they always did, unfortunately.
Mm.
But it's nice to share.
Definitely. I'm really grateful that you have shared that. So anyway, should we go a bit more back to you as a band? And I'd quite like to explore now how you formed. Because you're quite new, aren't you? Is it 2017 that you formed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Jim was in a Cajun band for many years, over 30 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Two different bands he was in at one point. And then in quick succession, both those bands just disbanded. and he'd written so many of his own songs that there was no outlet. And I'd been standing in the sidelines the whole time. I want to play.
Yeah.
Can I come and play? And we just, I think it was at the bar one evening, wasn't it? We decided, let's go out and start playing music together.
Where all the best decisions are made, generally.
Yeah, definitely. Folk music. It's always fun.
Yeah.
We made a decision quite early on to try and only play our own music as well.
Yeah.
We were doing a few covers to start with because we didn't have quite enough for a full set, and enjoyed doing those. But gradually, those have dropped off, and it's all our own music we play now.
So that's everything we hear today is your own music, your original.
It is, yeah.
And how would you describe your sound? Kind of what categories of folk would you say that you fit into?
We don't really easily fit into any of them, which is which is a weakness and a strength, I think. So I think because the influences are from all over the shop, from sort of traditional English folk, which is what I personally, that's my first love, through to pop and country, blues.
Yeah, there is some Cajun influence in there as well.
Definitely, yeah.
A little bit of klezmer because I play the clarinet. I like to try and do something interesting with that.
Yeah, so it's hard to, and that makes it hard for people to pigeonhole us, which is what we like, but it doesn't necessarily help people who do want to present us in a particular way. Contemporary folk, I would say, but we like melody, I think, is one of the things we really like.
That is one thing I've got from every single one of your songs, is that you are the masters of the melody. It's always original and very good melody on every single one.
Oh, that's very kind. Yeah, we do, and we work hard. We do work hard at melody. I think, and try and make them hooky, and without being overly cliched. Hopefully, is what we aim for. Whether we achieve that, I don't know, but that's certainly what we aim for.
Is that because, as listeners yourselves, you're more drawn to melody than lyrics?
I think because I write most of the music side of it. I think when I first started writing songs, I noticed that I was more, I guess because I write on the guitar, I was more keen to like put clever chords in there and, make it a bit flash. But I learned since then that for me, I'm not the best singer in the world. Josie's much better singer than I am. And I was keen to make, and she likes melody and makes lovely melody. And my voice sounds very drony if I don't emphasize the melody. So I think it's probably a natural thing. I think I never really thought about it.
No, I'd never thought of it.
If it sounds nice, then it's good.
Well, I'm a big melody person, so I'm a big fan.
Good.
But I've seen you likened to Fleetwood Mac and Steeleye Span. Would you say that you try and evoke that feeling a bit?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess,
probably,
yeah.
Yeah, probably in the recording of our album, we had certain bands in mind when we were recording, so certain styles that we liked, and the album is more of a production than just the two of us. So there's a lot more goes into it. So
yeah. I mean, going back to Steeleye Span, for instance, massive. I love 1970s folk rock. So Steeleye Span, Albion Band, Fairport Convention. I absolutely adore that stuff. And yeah, we definitely aimed for that with a couple of the tracks. And Fleetwood Mac is an interesting one because, again, I mean, Lindsey Buckingham is an amazing writer. So to any sort of comparison to that is incredible. but again, the melody, I guess, with his stuff, and also the John who produced our album. He is in a band called Dandelion Charm, and again, they very often get compared to Fleetwood Mac. I think that's largely because of their harmonies. So there's a big influence from him on that. So I would imagine that plays into that comparison as well.
Yeah, we're big on harmonies as well, aren't we? Try and do lots of harmonies in.
Yeah, and we argue
singing
a lot, which is the other comparison to.
No, we don't.
Okay, so we have your second song, which is
Okay.
Making Progress. Can you tell us about this one?
You can talk
Okay,
about
yeah,
this.
sure. By profession, I'm a graphic designer, and been doing it quite a long time, and seen a lot of changes in that in the print industry. And it occurred to me one day, there's one particular job I remember that in the print industry that gets done, which is a film planner. Anybody in the print industry will know what a film planner does, and it's an incredibly skilled job. But it was a very highly skilled job that somebody would have done an apprenticeship for, but this job only lasted probably 30 or 40 years, this task that was done. And so people would have done an apprenticeship and then their job would have disappeared off the face of the earth only a few years later.
As soon as it became computerized.
So it just occurred to me how things have changed. That's what the song starts with, and the rest of it is basically just a middle-aged rant about how awkward life is these days, basically, and how much better it would be if we didn't have to make loads and loads of decisions, and about which utility company we use, and all this sort of thing, and how much easier things would be.
I think we've written just another relatable song there. So the whole complaining about
Yeah.
how things constantly are changing and stuff. I mean, there was some lyrics you said in there that I really liked, which was making progress set us free, but what was the next bit? Slaves of progress are we, or something like that. Have I got that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I
Yep.
love the kind of contrast that you've managed to do there. Just how are we free if we're slaves of progress?
Yeah, we all rely on our. Well, no, we don't all rely on our mobile phones, but a huge
Rely on
quantity of us
technology.
rely on technology, but
Mm.
we've come to rely on it, haven't we?
Mm.
Rather than it work for us.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
And you actually, have I got this right, that you retrained to be web designers during COVID so that you could kind of adapt?
We did, yeah. We already did a little bit of web design, but we went into it sort of wholeheartedly, and became web designers.
So you are living proof of this progress.
Yes.
For our sins.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, should we explore more about your songwriting? I feel like you touched on it a bit earlier, Jim, when you mentioned that you do the melody. But how would you describe the whole process of this songwriting takes place between the two of you?
Well, it's changed since we started because I started as the songwriter, and then Josie started writing as well. So it's changed completely. And I'll come very often. Josie will come up with an idea and come up with lyrics or a set of lyrics, and I'll start developing melody around that. And she'll say she sees a particular song in a particular style. And other times I'll come up with an idea of a song and ask maybe a musical phrase and ask Josie to come up with lyrics because I can't be bothered. Basically, it's much easier getting someone else to do it.
Yeah,
I've learned. So yeah.
I love writing lyrics, but Jim's lyrics are amazing. When sort of play them to friends and say, "Wow, he's really like intelligent and insightful and
cleverer than he looks."
Where did that come from?
nice to hear.
Yeah. Backhanded compliment.
It's massively a team process.
Yeah. I do find it very difficult thinking up melodies. So that's definitely Jim's side of it. If I'm trying to write a song, I'll write the lyrics and I'll have a different tune in my mind. I'll base it on something that I know, just so I've got that rhythm there, and then I'll just give Jim the lyrics. I won't say what song I had in my mind, so that he comes up with something completely out of his own head.
Fantastic. And with the subject matter, what does that tend to? Where do you gravitate towards on what you write your songs about?
We've done a few about people, haven't we?
Yeah.
Local characters. It's a variety of stuff, isn't it? People we meet that we might be inspired to write a song, not necessarily about them, but about what they do or something connected to them.
They don't tend to be. They tend to be fairly clear subject matter, so it'll be a ballad about something or someone or somewhere, rather than. I mean, Little Piece of Mine is a bit of an oddball for us in that it's about the feelings and insecurities and so on. So for me, that was a bit of a departure. Whereas, making progress, I could base that on something a bit more concrete. So, I mean, one of the songs we've written recently, we were at Purbeck Valley Folk Festival, just as visitors, customers, and we were blown away by the variety of people who were there, different shapes and sizes and different costume, and it was fantastic. so we're inspired to write a song there. Josie came up with some fantastic lyrics, and we actually wrote a song while we were there, which was great fun. So it can be, it can be people, situations. Again, Josie's just written a great song about a road protest song, because there's a reasonable chance that where we're sitting in a few years' time, it will be a dual carriageway. So, but so that's sort of fairly close to home.
We try to. We were thinking about the sort of the folk tradition is to write about what's happening in the world at the moment, a bit of a sort of a diary, almost a record of the time. So during lockdown, we wrote a couple of songs because of that. And the A27, the road protest song, is that sort of, you feel it's your duty to sort of share that information in music as a folk artist.
Yeah, and people can get behind that as well, which is great, So it can be anywhere, but also there are real situations and real people that we base songs on. There's a song we play called "Buckle Up," which is about a guy who back in 1969 requisitioned an aircraft to fly back to his new wife in North America. And so that was, a very real person and very real story. But other stories we make up as well.
So all sorts, really.
Yeah, yeah, really.
And you've released your songs in, in 2017, was it? You released an EP called Little Fish.
Yes.
And that was all
our
originals.
Yes, that was our first sort of foray into putting our songs out there. They were like little fish, just letting them go and swim and find your way.
Yeah. And then in 2020, during the pandemic, was that when you released Temperatures Rising?
Yes.
That was your first.
Yeah, or was it the beginning of this year?
Yeah.
Beginning of this year. We were recording it. We'd started recording it, and then everything had to stop. And we were doing some bits at home during lockdown, and the other musicians who were taking part, they recorded their own bits at home as well.
Yeah.
And it was a real feat to get it done. And John, who produced it, did an amazing job.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah, stitching everything together. It is incredible, and we got some really good reviews for the album, which is brilliant. But they all of the reviews, say how brilliant the editing and the production is, which is a real testament to John Fowler. He's incredible. So we're really pleased with it. We're really proud of it, actually. But we're proud of both of them, actually. Really proud of both of them.
So the song-wise, was that just sort of a mixture of different topics throughout, or was there a theme? Just because with Temperature Rising, that gives me sort of the idea of climate change and things. Was it kind of about that?
Yeah, that kind of it seemed to weave through the songs naturally. We didn't think of it. Once we decided which songs were going to go on there, we then came up with the title of the album and thought, actually, that fits with pretty much everything on there, one way or another. It fits with the song about the menopause as well.
Definitely.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the point of an album, isn't it? To have that weaving thing all the way through each song. Hence why, was it Adele's recently stopped you from shuffling albums?
Oh, yes. Right. Yeah. Because you want, your album is laid out in a certain way and you want people to listen to things in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that. Adele has she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant, because that means that I love that, because it shows how committed to an album she is, which is fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
Because there's an argument that albums are going out of fashion, and I just think they're a brilliant format still. I love albums.
They are, because they tell that story. They have that narrative through them. So if you have time to sit down and properly listen, that's when you get a bigger picture than just the song.
I think so.
Okay. Should we go for your third song now? Is it third? Yes.
Yep.
Third. This is a bit different, this one, a bit of a tone change. So this is Unsaid. Can you talk about this one?
Yeah, well, we had a lovely friend of ours who sadly passed away at the end of 2019. And we'd always bump into him in odd places. And then we bumped into him outside Morrison's in Seaford. And he had a lovely Bristolian accent, our friend Tony. And he said, I'm not going to try and do the accent, but he said, I've got a 12 string that I'm going to bring you. And I thought, well, Tony, I don't really want another 12 string. I've got a 12 string and I don't really like that.
He actually said, I've got enough guitars.
I know, you never hear that. And anyway, he turned up with this 12 string guitar. And the thing was, had a neck like a tree trunk, virtually unplayable. But I gave it a strum and I could tell that it would sound really good. But anyway, I put it under the bed and forgot all about it. And then, sadly, just before Christmas in 2019, we lost our friend. And I decided it would be really nice to write a song about. He died very suddenly. He wasn't ill, and it was he basically died very suddenly in hospital. And we just wondered what if he left anything unsaid. And it was just a bit of a lesson that don't leave on an argument, all that kind of stuff. So that's what it was about. Anyway, we got my friend Adam to reshape the neck of the guitar, and that's what I play on the song. Molly, my dear, I left before you heard it all. I held you in my arms, so much I wish we could have shared. Left unsaid, kept it in, left unsaid. I didn't get to say, your hair is looking nice that way. I hope you're eating well. Have you thought about what comes next? Left unsaid, kept it in, left unsaid. And if you ever let the sun go down before you say goodbye, have no regrets. Now I can't be by your side, but I know you'll be just fine, Never let it go unsaid. Never let it go unsaid. The one that you hold dear, tell them what they mean to you. Kiss your love goodnight, they hold a place inside your heart. Don't let it go unsaid. Speak your heart. Don't let it go unsaid.
What a beautiful, sentimental song. And I think that everybody has that experience where, on a non-extreme note, they've fallen out with someone and then they have to go to sleep knowing that they've fallen out. And it's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
And so you're right, you don't want to leave anything unsaid ever, because you never know when it's gonna be final.
Yeah. Never leave the house without saying goodbye to somebody. It's a very, very simple sentiment, but
powerful.
It was took quite a while to be able to sing that without welling up.
Definitely, still have moments when we well up.
Yeah, it's got that little phrase in it where you sort of you start the crescendo, and that's like a swelling of emotion as well. And you sort of get to the top of the crescendo and you think,
I'm going now.
It's like a tribute to them, and you almost put them into the song. So it's like you've almost put all your grief into the song as well. So when you sing it, it's just flooding back. It's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that with us. Shall we now talk a bit about your musical career again? So we've discussed your albums, and actually there's a new one coming, isn't there? We haven't mentioned that.
We're working on it, but it's we probably won't be putting that out till the end of next year now. We're thinking of working on an EP first, because we've got so many songs. We've got far too many for an album, so we thought we'll do sort of go small first.
Yeah, we've got to
work our way up.
Amazingly, we worked out we've got a repertoire of about 60 plus songs now, original songs, which is I'm quite shocked to even imagine that.
I bet all the songwriters watching this hate you.
Well, we are quite old.
Got a lot of experience.
So you're going to have
life experience.
EP, and then maybe an album after that, because you've got to get all these songs out. I mean, it'd be a crime if we didn't get to hear them somehow. So
this one's we're working on this just as a duo, really, not inviting. There might be another couple on certain songs, but it's going to be a lot less production on this one, just a bit sort of stripped back and raw, as it were.
Raw Milton Hide.
Yeah, that's the title.
So that's like the recording side. How important is performing live to you as a duo?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the number one.
That's what we want to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, all of the we don't write for albums. You know, a lot of bands will write a set of songs. Oh, we're going to do another album. Let's write the songs for it and then go and tour the album. I think with the folk, traditionally folk acts will go out round folk clubs, venues, and so on, and perform the songs, and then that hones the songs. The songs develop as you play them.
Yeah, definitely.
And so they're only ready for recording after you've probably been playing them for a year or two, in a sense. I mean, that's not quite true, but you know, you get the sentiment. They evolve as you perform them. We write songs to perform them, not to record them, really.
So it's a crucial part of the process is the performing live.
Yeah, and getting a feedback from the audience as well, even if just sort of looking at their expressions. When you're singing something for the first time, you can tell what bits they're really getting into. And if you're sort of singing something and you're losing them, think, okay, we'll adjust that one slightly. Or if you hear wincing going on.
So it's almost like with the vaccine, it goes through that phase, or vaccines do that, don't they? The trial testing. That's what you do with your songs, but not to such a controversial outcome. Another thing that's quite amazing about your career is who you've supported. And am I right in saying that your first ever proper gig, you were supporting a big name?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing, really.
From Mrs. Yarrington's, wasn't it?
Yeah. We got we do know a couple of really lovely promoters, and because you know, the first thing we did when we decided were going to go out and start gigging was tap them up to see if we can get some support slots. And yeah, our first gig was we were offered supporting Jim Moray, who's amazing musician.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, completely terrifying.
Literally.
But we got away with it, and
Yeah.
they asked us back, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Thing is, we don't like to go on too much about that because, that was arranged by the promoter, not by the artist, of course. So, we don't like to make a big song
But
and dance about
it's
that.
lovely that we've met these people as well, these sort of
Yeah.
big names, and think, oh, you're really nice. actually."
Yeah, they generally are really nice
Martin
people.
Carthy's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's fantastic. And who was your favourite to play with? Tough question.
Oh, that's well, as a guitarist, it's always going to be Martin Carthy because he is literally a legend, and he was so generous and so lovely and chatty, despite the fact that I managed to nick his capo at one point, and but no, for me it was definitely Martin Carthy because he's been a fan of his forever. So what are you going to do?
Shall we go on to your fourth song, which is Riding the Whale, one of my favourites. Can you tell us a bit about this before we hear it?
This is a song of nostalgia, really. It's one Jim wrote when his dad was not well, so he wanted to write a song for him. And it's a song about his dad giving all the kids, he's one of 5, giving all of them whale rides in the sea. They'd all sort of leap on his back when they go down to the beach. And so it's a song about that. And it's just gorgeous.
It's the
lovely melodies.
Well, it's the opposite in a sense to A Little Peace of Mind, because it's sort of harking back to a time when you didn't have any worries, and the only thing you worried about was losing your mum and dad on the beach or something. I'm your child, I feel it in my blood. Carry me through the tempest and the flood. Nourish me and always keep me warm. Show me how to protect myself from harm. Sword on my lips, wind in my hair, sun on my back, having to care, crashing the waves, racing the gulls, wanting to yell. Riding the whale. Place your finger firmly in my hand. See your footprints in the moonlit sand. And don't look back when you set off from the beach. The brave new world is just within your reach. Sword on my lips, wind in my hair, sun on my back, having to care, crashing the waves, the ghosts, wanting to yell, I'm riding the wheel. And a whale can dive so deep, and a whale can swim so far, and a whale can hear you call wherever you are. Clouds fly by, this day is heaven sent. Twitch your tail and I can feel your strength. Sword on my lips, wind in my hair, sun on my back, having to care, crashing the waves, racing the ghosts, wanting to yell, I'm riding the whale.
I love that. I absolutely love that song. And do you know what I love so much about it is the clarinet. This is our first sort of experience with the clarinet.
Ah,
And I love it because it's not a regular folk instrument at all, is it?
It's not. But then when we went to the Purbeck Valley Folk Festival in the summer, there were several bands there with clarinets, and it seems to be the clarinet and the cello are the latest folk instruments.
you'd be walking down
So-
the path and trip over another blooming clarinet and
yeah.
turn
So,
around and
yeah,
someone whacks you on the head with a cello.
We're not that as unusual as I thought we were. But no, it was nice that it's the only instrument I can play.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, what made you choose that as your instrument in your band?
Yeah, I learned to play clarinet at school, and it was the usual thing that at school you learn the clarinet part of classical pieces. So I would sit there for a long time waiting for my little chance to play a few little trills, and then have to wait while the sort of piano carried on with the rest of it or something. So there was no sort of incentive for me to carry on with clarinet, really, if I wasn't going to go into an orchestra.
Yeah.
And it was really nice when Jim and I first got together. We were at college and we used to go busking, and he would play piano accordion and I would play clarinet. And that was a really nice combination. And that made me start playing clarinet by ear, just learning. I think it was all Christmas carols, wasn't it, to start with, and a few folky things. So now I just play along by ear, and Jim tells me what to play.
No, I don't. Well, on that song though, that's really interesting because we didn't start when I wrote that. It didn't feature the clarinet; it just featured Josie doing backing vocals, and then we simply she had the idea to simply play the backing vocals she was doing on the clarinet, and it transformed the song into something. Well, I think it's really beautiful. The arrangement that she came up with is really, really lovely.
So
And on the album, it sounds incredible.
Yeah. So it almost acts like a third voice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the nice thing about the clarinet, that it can either be a voice or it can be like a drone, or in that one it's the sound of the whale, or it's the sound of the foghorns. Yeah, I think it's quite a versatile instrument from that point of view. And you've got quite a good range in it.
I think it's probably one of, like I know, but I think it's one of the more expressive woodwind instruments that
Yeah.
there is. Because it's a bit more woody and a bit more organic, perhaps, than others. For me, anyway.
It's very interesting that you should use it, because both my sisters play the clarinet, and when we were growing up, they'd always be like, "Oh, Maddie, you have to be the instrument. You have to get your violin and learn it and as the fiddle, because you've got the folk instrument." But now I can turn it back on them and
Yeah.
no.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Lovely. Okay, so let's just talk a bit more about what you've got in the future. We've discussed the potential EP and the album, but the last time I spoke to you, you mentioned maybe taking a bit of a step back from your day job so that you could tour a bit more or go to festivals a bit more. Have you had any luck with trying to sort that? I know it's difficult with all COVID, so it's a big uphill battle.
Yeah, we've been really busy organising dates for next year, and yeah, I'm really really pleased to say that we've got some nice things in the diary for next year. And it's nice to see. What's really nice is to see a few of the folk clubs opening up again, and I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, obviously, but it's nice that people are taking a punt, and especially on someone, we're not regulars on the scene yet, but they're liking what they hear. We've had we've done some mentoring with some great people over the last couple of months.
That's really helped.
Yeah, and it's helped us to present ourselves in a clearer way, sort of package ourselves a bit, and come up with the Milton Hide brand a bit more, which has been a clearer proposition for people to take on.
Yeah,
and yeah, luckily a few people have committed to taking us, and we've got some really nice dates. So we're all over the country. We're up in Scotland, over in West Wales, doing festivals over in Wales. We've got a festival up in the Isle of Wight. We're up in the northeast. Yeah, so really, really looking forward to it.
So if people wanted to come and see you, where would they look to get tour dates and things?
On our wonderful website, which is miltonhide.com.
And is that also where albums and EPs are available?
Yes, you can find everything about us there, and anything you want to buy, t-shirts.
It is Hyde with an I, not a Y.
Oh yes, yeah. And you can see some more videos on there and links to our music and the albums.
Yeah, I will say the videos on there are very funny. You're very good at mixing the humour into your live performances. It's not just about the music, it's about the entertainment, definitely, with your...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So would you say as this will be my last question because we are running out of time, but I think it's quite interesting to know how tricky it's been as emerging artists on this scene. Obviously, Jim, you're on a whole other scene and established there, but how tricky has it been trying to get into this particular scene?
There's a lot of competition, that's for sure. And I think... No, I was going to say something, but I was going to say something about ageism. I think there's an inherent sort of ageism in that. I think with folk music, it's a very. I'm trying to say something without sounding controversial, and say there's an ageism there. But there seems to be different strata of folk music where you get well packaged sort of younger artists who are coming along that get particular gigs with particular promoters, and then you get established artists again who are shoe-ins for other venues and other sort of folk clubs and that sort of thing. Coming in as an unknown sort of middle-aged act, I think is not easy, because you can't sort of shoehorn yourself into the established acts, particularly at the moment, because they've been relying upon an income. So they're sort of first in the queue.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fair enough. And equally, I think the younger promoters, who generally speaking will take the younger folk artists and contemporary artists on, steer clear of what they perceive as perhaps a middle-aged, make no bones about it, a middle-aged couple playing a guitar and a clarinet. It's not exactly sexy.
But they doing the mentoring, that's helped a lot. It's helped us feel a bit more confidence in ourselves as well. Confidence, I think, had a big part to play originally as well. And we were sort of like jokingly sort of relying on the fact that we sort of played in cardigans and slippers and we're sort of the older set. And that wasn't really working for us.
Kind of backfired a bit.
We've ditched that thing. But I think just getting into the scene, we did it the right way round, in that we were doing as many open mics as we could, and that's a really good way to get into it, because you meet so many different people and they can sort of recommend places to try. You'll meet people who run folk clubs there as well, and
you put yourself out of your comfort zone. I mean, our comfort zone would be going to a folk club where there'll be a load of oldies and like us. I mean, I'm not saying like old dears, but that's our sort of, we'll be comfortable there. People will enjoy it. We know that they'll get it. When you go to, we went up to a place called the Spice of Life in London, and which is off of Leicester Square, I think. And you're rubbing shoulders with much younger artists, and when they really dig what you do, then that gives you a lot of confidence as well.
Yeah.
And you realise that it's just music, and we're all just doing the same thing, and we're all just enjoying ourselves. That gives you confidence as well.
And when we surprise people as well, that's really good.
The best.
Somebody sort of comes up to you afterwards, I didn't expect you to be like that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, that was actually quite good.
I think this is really interesting, because there's never really a conversation about how tricky it could be for someone who's not young to come into folk. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've spoken a lot about how we're going to get young people in folk. What can we do? Let's support them. But there isn't actually any thought about the older people who haven't actually ever done it before but want to suddenly emerge.
No, and I think it's fair. I think that's kind of fair enough. But I was thinking, funnily enough, I was thinking about this only yesterday about, I do love folk clubs, and I love open mics, and I like hearing people get up and do their thing. I really enjoy that. And it would be just so cool to get younger people into those folk clubs, because the people that go along who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s upwards, they started going to folk clubs when they were in their 20s. And it was no different at all. They were just as cool then as the cool people that go out and hear music now.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the music that people are missing is really, really good, and just as valuable. And you get young artists. You can also get young artists who go along as well. So, I think we'd all love to see a lot, many younger people. And if you go to Hastings and in Brighton, you go to Old Town and you go into the pubs there, and you'll see, people in their early 20s rubbing shoulders with people in their 70s, and it's normal, and they're all enjoying the same stuff. And I don't really see why that shouldn't be the same elsewhere.
Yeah. Fantastic. This has been really fascinating. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, so we're going to have to move on to your last song. But before we do that, I just want to say a huge thank you for joining us and for sharing your songs and your stories and everything. It's been really wonderful. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. But let's have your final song, which is took to wing. And personally, I think this one feels very kind of Fairport convention-y. That's what the vibe that I got very much. But what is this song about?
Well, it was. I can't remember why I came up with the idea, but it was. I guess it was to do again with where we live near Abbots Wood. That features in the song, and it was sort of an urban. It was sort of an urban myth that we came up with, really, of someone escaping domestic violence and finding sort of sanctuary in the woods. We left it purposely sort of open as to how it ends.
Sort of ambiguous.
Yes. But yeah, and on the album, it's like a big finale with like the kitchen sink thrown at the end. So we really like that.
The streets did shout and the sirens called, and Mary closed her door. She had her coat and she had her purse, she didn't need no more. She left her house on London Road, took the train from town, found a place where the birds do sing with foxgloves all around. She loved him once when they were young, but the years they did go by. When he struck her once, then he struck her twice. That's the time to fly. She walks the woods where the bramble grows. She walks the whole day through. She sings her song though no one hears. Her voice is high and true. They say her song can cure the ill and put the tired at rest. Of all the songs that fill the wood, nightingales are best. As darkness falls and shadows creep, and you fear your life might end, when the blackbirds and the larks do sleep, the song will be your friend. Nightingale, sing your song, sing it sweet, sing it strong. The sun's retired, the day has gone. Sing till light, sing till dawn. When Mary came to Abbots Wood, that's when she took to wing, free to go where'er she wants, free at last to sing. Her coat's as plain as the woodland floor, her purse is emerald green. She's well hid in her bramble bra, her but never seen. Nightingale, sing your song, sing it sweet, sing it strong. The sun's retired, the day has gone. Sing till light, sing
Thank you very much for watching. To find out more information about our future Tuesday Folk People sessions, please sign up to our mailing list or keep an eye on our social media and website. Our next session will be a week from today at 8 p.m. See you then.